All right, hello. Welcome back to Strictly Hoops. I'm Hudson.
I'm Nick.
I'm Griffin.
So, obviously, we had a lot of big March Madness games. We're going to talk about the Final Four today. So, starting it off, we got Purdue versus NC State. I mean, I knew Purdue was going to win that. NC State, I mean, they got there. They're a good team, but I didn't expect them to be there in the first place.
Yeah.
Purdue won pretty big, 63-50. It was sad to see NC State's Cinderella run come to an end, but it was gonna end eventually.
Yeah. DJ Horn, 20 points. DJ Burns, kind of the star of the show there, along with Edie. He only had 8 points. But, I mean, what a run for those guys. I mean, really good look for NC State and their basketball program to get to the Final Four. I mean, they also got there in women's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both men's and women's made
Yeah.
it.
So, I mean, really good year for NC State all around. I mean, hopefully they can rally, and I don't know if they can make a run like that again, but maybe Sweet 16, Elite 8, something like that.
Yeah.
And Edie, he had 20 points, 12 rebounds because he could get rebounds over DJ Burns, and he was scoring on him because he's just so much taller.
Yeah, he's a force. I think Burns a little bit more of a big body, but, I mean, Edie's so tall and, like, just such a dominant force down there that it's just hard to stop him.
Yeah. Edie's been so good for Purdue the whole tournament. He's been their best player, clearly.
We'll
Yeah.
see how he does in the NBA because he's probably going to have to be able to shoot a little bit better because in the NBA now,
Bigs, yeah.
bigs have to be able to shoot somewhat.
He's a good free throw shooter for sure.
Yeah.
Because he gets to the line all the time.
Mm-hmm. And then going on the other game, UConn versus Alabama. UConn, they won 86-72. Like we said last week, they're just so dominant, hard to be beat.
Yeah.
Mark Sears had 24 points for Alabama. He was their main scorer, but
Yeah.
they still lost.
He really showcased like his abilities this whole tournament. I mean, he was
Shoot
Alabama.
threes.
Yeah, he was Alabama's primary scorer, ball handler, etc. The whole tournament, and I think that puts his draft stock a little higher. Hopefully, maybe I don't know if he'll stay in college or declare for the draft. See what happens there. But I mean, he's definitely like improved his look in this tournament.
I think if you can get like really good NIL money, then you should stay in college for another year.
Yeah. I think a lot of the Alabama guys are coming back, as well as their coach. So I think Alabama will be pretty good next year.
Yeah, Stephon Castle had a good performance that game. He had 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he struggled in the Elite Eight,
Yeah.
but he really stepped up for the Final Four.
Yeah,
and
he had,
scoring
like,
well.
2, 5, and 6 or something, and then he really stepped it up like he needed to this Final Four game. Yeah.
Yeah. And all of UConn starting 5, they all had 14 or more points that game.
Yeah, that's a
So-
really. I mean, that's when you have people scoring, like a lot of people scoring 10 or more, even 14 or more. I mean, you're gonna win games, and
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
obviously UConn's best team overall.
And then going on the huge game, Purdue versus UConn. It was pretty close the whole game, but then at like second half, UConn just
Yeah.
took it away.
Yeah.
UConn ended up winning by 15, 75-60.
Yeah.
Which is a crazy margin for a win in the national championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Zach Edey, I did not think he was gonna like. I thought Donovan Clingan, I thought he was gonna do way better against Edey. Edey still had 37 points.
And 10 rebounds.
Yeah. A lot of people thought, even though, like, regardless of the loss, that he should have got MVP of Final Four, Edey, but I don't think. I think they did it right, giving it to Tristan Newton. He really put on a show that Final Four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he had 20 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds in the championship game.
Yeah.
So he really earned his Final Four MVP.
Yeah. Pretty crazy for UConn to go back-to-back championships. I think it's the first time since 06-07 with the Florida Gators that somebody's won back-to-back.
Yeah.
And Donovan Clingan, I thought he's not really like the best scorer, but I thought he was gonna be able to play like a lot better defense on Edey.
Well, he was also in foul trouble.
Yeah. He
3
struggled
or
with
2 fouls early, and then I think he ended up with 3 or 4, but he didn't get to play as much as UConn would have hoped to play him.
Yeah, that's it with the March Madness. But I thought that was pretty like you could pretty much predict that. That was like a pretty.
Yeah.
Those were like two best teams, I thought.
For sure.
Yeah.
Going to the tournament, I think a lot of people had UConn. Purdue in their championship. But I do think there were some pretty. I don't think very many people at NC State in the Final Four.
Oh,
I mean,
that was
nobody.
a shock.
Alabama as well. Like, I mean, that they were a little bit more like foretell, but still not Final Four.
Alabama's region was just tough with UNC and Arizona, so that's why nobody
Yeah.
really had them
Mhm.
go into the Final Four.
Both of them went down. Really good win Alabama had against UNC.
And I know UConn, they were like the way overall pick for everyone's like March Madness brackets. Like
Yeah.
that was the overall.
Over 40% of brackets
Yeah.
had them to win.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. Like considering like, what did you say? 40%. Like 40% of people had predicted like for a team to win back to back. That's how. I mean, that really shows you how much like of a force UConn was, and how much like how dominant they were compared to other teams. They had the largest margin of victory I think ever for in like total March Madness.
The whole tournament.
I feel like the problem with Purdue was they don't have as many like players, like good players as UConn.
Yeah.
Edie's like kind of their whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, everyone but Zach Edey really struggled for Purdue in the championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then a huge topic right now, Bronny James in the transfer portal.
Yep.
Yeah. He obviously left USC. His top 3 college schools are Ohio State, Duquesne, and Oregon.
Yeah.
I think the talk about him going to the NBA is kind of dumb. I mean, he's probably just going to see like where he would be in it, and then he's not going to go.
Yeah.
But like he was only averaging like 4 points.
Yeah,
at
he's
USC.
just taking a little. He declared for the draft, but he's just gonna take a little trip to the combine, come back probably. What I predict, come back. I think with LeBron's old coaching staff now at Duquesne, I think I could really see Bronny being like a really good player at Duquesne. I mean, it makes sense for him to go there because he could be the star there.
Yeah. He needs to like develop there. He doesn't really need any more exposure because he's LeBron's son.
Yeah, exactly. And clearly, like Duquesne's also not like a bad program. I mean, they won a couple games.
Made an upset in the tournament over BYU.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
then, another big talk. Former Kentucky coach John Calipari, he left, signed a 5-year contract with Arkansas. I think that was a good idea because Kentucky at some point is probably going to fire him.
Yeah. I think it was a good move for him. He just wasn't winning like he once was.
Yeah, I bet behind the scenes there was a mutual agreement that he needs to go, and I think it was really good that he signed with Arkansas because clearly it wasn't working. I mean, Kentucky, even though they're a well-renowned program, I mean they had lost I don't think they had got to the Sweet 16 for like
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 4 years in a row.
And Arkansas is a good fit for him because he's still in like the SEC, big conference.
Yeah, unfortunately for both those schools, because just with that's kind of how it goes when you have a new coach like leaving or coming. There's been like some decommits I know from both schools. I can't remember.
Kentucky's had a lot of decommits and a lot of people entering the transfer portal and going to the draft.
For sure, yeah. I know a lot of mainly Kentucky, but there's also been some I can't remember who, but there was a 4-star guard from Sierra Canyon decommitted to Arkansas when they saw Calipari signed with them.
Yeah. Going on just a few things in NBA. The 76ers, once Joel Embiid came back, they've been on a 5-game win streak.
Yeah. And Tyrese Maxey's been their leader when Embiid was out, and he had 52 points in their double overtime win over the Spurs.
Yeah.
So
it's good to see like him like getting more attention that like I think he deserves. I think he's a really good player. I think he's now he's getting his more attention. He's kind of getting but I'm glad that he's playing a bigger role. Or I mean, Embiid's back now, but he played a bigger role. And I think that 5-game winning streak, like especially going into the end of the season and then playoffs, is like it's really good for Philadelphia.
yeah, they're looking good going into the postseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for us.
All right.
All right.
I didn't want to talk anymore.